Welcome to the solution key for the practice test for test number 3. So here I'm going to just go in order, and I'm going to derive the quadratic formula. When you derive the quadratic formula, what you want to do is you want to start with standard form, which is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And actually, there should be a 0 there. My apologies. Because you're trying to solve this. So next thing I'll do is I'll move the c over. So you got negative c. You got ax squared plus bx. Then you want to divide both sides by a. So now you have this. Then we want to complete the square. Remember, when you complete the square, you got to take half of the linear coefficient, which is b over 2a, and then square it, which would be b squared over 4a squared. So I'm going to have negative c over a plus b squared over 4a squared, and x squared plus b over ax plus b squared over 4a squared. The whole point for doing that is so we can factor this trinomial, which would be x plus b over 2a squared. And here, if I find the least common denominator, let's change colors, it'll be 4a squared. So you want to multiply both top and bottom of the first fraction by 4a. So now we're going to have negative 4ac plus b squared over 4a squared. Square root both sides, because again you're trying to solve for x. So you have plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And actually, let me redo that part. Only the top will be square rooted, because we squared the bottom, square root of 4a squared is 2a. And then we just move the b over 2a over and make it all one fraction, and we should have our answer. All over 2a. So that's the derivation of the quadratic formula. Next up is number 2. You have to solve the equation by completing the square, so it's more practice completing the square. So we first would do this. Isolate the quadratic and linear terms. Divide everything by 2. Then complete the square by taking half of negative 2, which is negative 1. And then when you square it, you should get 1. So you have 1 to both sides. Factor it, which is negative half, and then square it both sides. So you get plus or minus I root 1/2, or x will equal 1 plus or minus I root 2 over 2. And the reason why it's root 2 over 2 is that when you have root 1/2, it becomes 1 root 2. And then when you rationalize, you get that. Now describe what this means graphically. But we know x-intercepts. The reason why is because when you graph something on a real coordinate plane, across the x-axis you expect a real solution. No x-intercepts because zeros were imaginary. And that's a sketch graph. This is a little bit confusing, but if you got everything in standard form, which is this, we replace that 0 with a y. So y equals 2x squared minus 4x plus 3. To find the x-coordinate of the vertex, you should know negative b over 2a, which is 4 over 2 times 2, which is 1. Get the y-coordinate vertex, put 1 for x, which is also 1. So we plot 1, comma 1. Make a quick table. Plot 0 and 2. You should get 3 and 3. And you have your graph. With a vertex again of 1, 1. Axis symmetry of x equals 1. And you have your 2 extra points at 2, comma 3 and 0, comma 3. Moving right along, here you have to write the complex number in standard form. What you want to do is first combine like terms up top, which will be this. FOIL the bottom, which will be this. Keep going. So we clean up the bottom. You should get negative 8 minus 19i. Remember that I squared equals negative 1. So this part here becomes negative 14. 6 minus 14 is negative 8. At this point, you have to multiply both top and bottom by the complex conjugate. Remember, that's called the complex conjugate. Because you want I in the bottom. Because again, standard form for a complex number is a plus bi. We're pretty far from that with this part. So that's why we have to multiply both top and bottom by the complex conjugate. So you have to do some more FOILing, and it's pretty wild. When you do, you get negative 56 minus 48i plus 153i plus 114 I squared. I swear to you on the real thing, the numbers will come out more cleanly. Negative 8 times negative 8, that'll be 64. Minus, see, that's 80, 70, minus 152i. Plus 152i. Minus 324 I squared. No, that's not right. 19 squared is 361 I squared. Again, I promise you the numbers will come up more nicely on the real thing. Clean it up. That becomes negative 114. So I get myself minus 170. And up top, I should get, let's see here, make sure I did this right. Well, that's 133. So you have plus 85i. And this becomes negative 361, but because of the minus, that becomes positive. So and those go away. So we wind up getting 425. Okay. You can factor A5 from both top and bottom. So you negative 2 plus I. And that reduces to 1 over 5. So the answer would be negative 2/5 plus 1/5 I. You have to write like this way, because remember A is negative 2/5 and B is 1/5. Number 4 is actually similar to what we had on our quiz last week. So here's your painting. So 6 by 7. Here's the border. goes around it. X, X, because you told uniform width, right? X, X. So the whole thing would be 7 plus 2x for the length. The width, or whatever you want to call it, would be 6 plus 2x that way. Area we know is LW, length times width. And the area is 42 plus 14, the picture plus the frame. Length is 6 plus 2x, or they could call it the width, whatever. Your dimension is 6 plus 2x and 7 plus 2x. So you get 56 equals 42 plus 14, 12, 26x plus 4x squared. So 0 equals 4x squared plus 26x minus 14. Factor out the 2. Continue factoring the sucker. 2x, x, plus 7, minus 1. So you get 2 inches half from negative 7. We know that not have a negative width for a frame. So the answer is half a foot. Kind of like what we had on the quiz. Okay, so that's number 4. So I'll stop the video right now, mostly because I gotta teach my U period, but also I figured just do both parts. So that was part 1 of the practice test, and part 2 of the practice will be done very shortly.